A powerful earthquake with a magnitude of 7.1 has hit New Zealand's South Island. Buildings have collapsed and roads have been damaged, and a state of emergency has been declared in the country's second largest city, Christchurch, on the South Island. It's also reported that parts of the city are in lockdown. Well, earlier I spoke to Sky's correspondent Ian Woods, who's in Sydney, Australia, and has the latest on the state of emergency in Christchurch.
Well, it means that the authorities there believe it's the most effective way of dealing with the situation that they found themselves in at 4:30 this morning, when a country which is used to fairly minor tremors but unused to major earthquakes was jolted awake at around about 4:30 in the morning, when most people thankfully were indoors. And I say that because when you see the damage to buildings where rubble has collapsed into the street and in some cases on top of cars, you would believe that the injuries would be much more extensive if it had happened at any other time of the day when people were out and about doing their normal business. As it is, there are no deaths reported and only a couple of injuries, but it still led, as you say, Bob Parker, the mayor of Christchurch, to declare a state of emergency.
In some ways, we've been extraordinarily lucky when it's come to the citizens here. But in terms of the scale of the damage, I think it's absolutely immense, and we're really just beginning to come to terms with the scale of what we've got in front of us at the moment.
Now, it's a bit of a once-in-a-lifetime event because they believe it's the most serious, certainly significant earthquake to hit New Zealand since 1931. Damage, as we say, is extensive. There have been fracturing of water and sewage pipes, which has caused a bit of flooding. Power is off in much of the city. The city's airport is temporarily closed. So lots of precautions in place while they check the infrastructure. They think the damage might run into about £500 million, but clearly it's still early days to assess exactly how severe the damage is, but certainly a lot of damage to the infrastructure, roads damaged, bridges damaged and so forth, but a significant event certainly in New Zealand terms.
And it's very difficult to maintain law and order at a time like this. We're hearing reports of looting in the city of Christchurch.
Yeah, I mean, I think the police are now starting to downplay that. There were a couple of minor instances of young people who happened to be out and about at that time and thought they would take advantage of the situation with some of the shops which had been damaged, and that led the police obviously to try to close off much of the central business district of Christchurch to avoid any other security situations, but they're playing that down and say it certainly wasn't widespread looting. They have a main problem now with just people wanting to travel around and take pictures and take in the sights, as it were, because it is quite extensive damage that people want to just drive around and take a look at, because it doesn't happen very often, but the police would rather people sort of stayed in their own areas to allow them to try to do the job of cleaning up and securing the area, and as I say, checking the infrastructure to see how bad the damage is.
A paedophile headmaster